Hello, and welcome back to another casted game on the Age of Bison YouTube channel covering the Age of Sombros Discord 2v2 tournament. I'm your host, Sir Shark Dad, joined here by Platypus Slayer, as we have two familiar teams now facing off, Lopsided Fluff and Nicias versus Braunchy and KrispyK. KrispyK playing good old United States, Braunchy with Britain once again, and then we have Nicias now playing Dutch, and then Lopsided Fluff playing Britain. So a little bit of a British mirror match, which we're not strangers to. And we are on the map Alaska, which also seems to be another popular selection for our members. Platypus, you want to go ahead and give your insights as to this matchup and let us know about this map?
First off, Braunchy and KrispyK, they're kind of facing elimination, right? So every strategy that's going to come out of this team is going to be, one of their best or one of their favorite strategies. So what I expect to see from these guys is a very practiced and a very precise strategy, which we saw them do the last game and really every game of the series just about. The new patch has come in, so there is a lot of variations to old civs. These are all, other than the United States, of course, legacy civs, but they've gotten a bunch of new updates. So, the matchups that we knew a week ago, they may not be current for this, and this could lead to a lot of unexpected turns in this game.
Right, absolutely. I mean, even myself, I'm still learning all the ins and outs of the patch, especially following the hotfix. There's a great deal of many changes, and I'm excited to see how these two players play it out in a 2v2 setting. So let's see if we have some decks that are selected. Looking over at Lopsided Fluff right now, I'm going to go ahead and center myself on them. Looks like a pretty standard team deck, if I do say so myself. Lots of resource cards here, advanced armory, and one of my favorite, siege archery. So we may expect some longbow play, but it looks like this deck can go either way. Hussar, Musk, longbow, depending on the need, as well as these resource gathering cards in Age 3. Nicias with the Dutch. Let's take a look. Once again, water. Nicias loves to go water. Anytime the option is available to him, he will take it. So we have Fish Market and Schooners here in Age 1. I'm really curious what you think about the Irish Brigadiers in H2. I know that's going to be a really strong play on the Dutch part to have a musketeer. Yeah, but you only get 9 of them, and they can go down pretty quick. So what do you...
Well, first off, they promote, this map is Cancer.
Cancer. Okay, interesting. It's actually called Alaska, not Cancer.
Yeah.
So...
Well, you can see Cancer in the sky at night, the constellation. Anyways, the Irish Brigadiers, because they cost coin, if you're Dutch, mercenaries are not exactly as high costed or opportunity costed as they are for a lot of civs. So,
right.
Ooh, clap back from Nicias. Okay.
Ooh, okay, interesting.
This will be fun, and these guys, they do get along. I am kind of curious why, though. United States does need a pretty strong XP curve. There are no trade posts on this map, or trade routes, I should say. So, perhaps his strategy that he wanted, he's realizing won't be able to kick off as fast. And what do you think about this deck?
Yeah, I think, we did see this deck play out in the first game that we casted on their part. I think it's interesting that, you see both Spanish immigrants, French immigrants, and Irish immigrants all in the same deck. Spanish immigrants doesn't seem to get a lot of play right now on the ladder, in my opinion. And so, but then again, I don't really play too much teams with the United States. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think it's a good choice in terms of the fact that what you just pointed out, it does give them a bonus XP trickle for having it. So because of that XP curve, it will help a lot. In addition to the capital wagon with the Virginia General Assembly, that's going to be a huge part to play, I think, as well, to help with that boost. And then we do see a little bit of the sharpshooters card, so that's kind of interesting. You don't see that inclusion as well. But this deck can go either way. You could definitely do an FF, you can do an FI. Pretty flexible. Then switching on over to Braunchy. Also familiar deck. Team Rum Distillery, pretty interesting. No siege archery, but opting for some Muskren upgrades. Yeoman, pretty interesting, but for the most part pretty similar as well. Can go either way in terms of his unit composition as well. H4 does look a little bit different. Let's take a look. Horse artillery versus Congreve rockets, so it's going to be the only difference. Interesting
choice, the horse artillery. I would say rockets would probably be consistent or popular choice for Brits. If not the 2 infinite one, then at least the 3. But perhaps the mobility of the horse artillery he's looking for. Oh, we got a forward base by
Yeah,
red.
we do,
So
by Bronchi over here. He's going to go really aggressive in the barrack right there in his face, and I'm really wondering now if they see it. Do they?
yeah, lopsided fluff
They
saw it. So
do, yes, they do see it. So they know that's coming. Dutch do have a little bit of a harder time getting spun up. Stable coming out on Nicias's part. Going to go for a Hussar start here, and I'm wondering exactly what Lopsided Fluff is going to do. He's going to go for Musk here. So 5 Musks already coming out. Aging up with the Governor, by the way. Dutch aging up with the Quartermaster, which is pretty standard. Bronchi, which I believe he went up with. I don't even know. Did he go up with Governor? He may have.
Yeah, Brits typically go with the Governor for the tower. Yep, there's the tower.
There
from
it is.
Brits.
And then a double tower here. So that's going to be coming from the Spanish Immigrants card on the part of KrispyK. State Militia coming out and probably going to see... Is he going to go Tercio? I don't see them. So, very interesting. And double Musk play right here. So, the thing about the British double Musk play, I find, is that, and I've said this before, I believe, is that it's a time crunch on you want to get your wood in, you want to get your manor boom going, but at the same time, it's these 2 cards, right? Or sorry, these 2. You want the Team Muskren hit points and the Musk Grenadier damage, because that essentially makes your H2 Musk a H3 Musk, a veteran Musk. And it's kind of a rush to get those out when you're going into a double Musk combo, I think. I could be wrong, but...
That's a lot of State Militia too. So, the State Militia did just get a bit of a nerf. But again, into Dutch with really not much going on. This might be a huge problem for Nicias.
Yeah, especially those Tercio, they're going to be upgraded, so they're going to be able to keep off, as well as the Musketeers, they're going to be able to keep off those Hussar, and then the State Militia will easily be able to deal with the Musketeer, with the mass, so to speak, even though they do struggle in terms of range. And one of the big things is that he does not have the long rifles card in his deck, so he's not going to get that upgrade for the range. But here they go, they're going to go right at it, barrel to barrel. State Militia are going to start going to work on these Musketeers. Tercio trying to get in and take out some of these Hussar, not really able to get on any of them. He still does have some Musketeer up, so it looks like the micro may pay off. Hard to tell. No, probably not.
Yeah.
There goes the switch right there, and already Hussar going down. Oh, man, that's so rough to see that pathing sometimes come out on AoE 3.
But it's looking like a pretty good fight here for Bronchi and KrispyK. I mean, they still have most of their mass. Britain has to head off, and Dutch is on water, and they have a bank, so they're not going to be as idled, but this is looking pretty strong.
That is true.
For Bronchi K.
It is a strong rush here, and they do look to be a little bit caught out by the State Militia. It's not really the most expected play. Regulars are always going to be generally more desirable. Maybe that was what they were expecting, but... And here we go, the Town Center already going to work, and he does have 15 idle Vills right here, and going after Nicias is the smart play. Only 1 bank, though, as you mentioned, by the Dutch. You do want to have, the opening bank start does aim for, at least 3 for them to be really, really effective. So it's kind of rough to see that. State Militia now being, or sorry, not State Militia, Minutemen being called out. Even more being sent in here, and the Irish Brigadiers are going to come out. They're going to pop, and it's not going to go well for them.
Still, I mean, in melee, these guys promote, and they have 40% melee resist.
Well, when they promote, they don't regain their health. It's
true.
So.
But I mean, that was a pretty cost-effective. All things considered, into skirms their counter. But still, yeah, I think it's too little, too late. I don't think Brits or Nicias now have much options. I mean, he's Vil pulling. That's never a good sign.
No, not at all. And he's going in 2 different directions. He is going to get a couple of Hussar out onto the field, and I don't know if they're going to be able to do a lot of work on the State Militia, but he does have his villagers, or merchants now, going in, getting their wood gathering going and seeing what they can make out of this. It's going to be a lot of pressure on Lopsided Fluff to kind of deal with this mass, but all the while, it's not as if, Lopsided Fluff 34 Vil is pretty good, but not too far behind with 25, and then Bronchi's 39. So it's not like, you think, oh, an all-in rush, and then I'm lacking in terms of eco. Absolutely not. They are going to be they're going to be doing just fine.
You know, I think so. And with Dutcher kind of out, and you know, Brit can make one heck of a musket mass, but with those state militia, it's just going to be really hard to push into anything without some Hussar out in the field.
Absolutely. I'm curious to see how Nicias is going to respond. No shipment points, so that's probably going to be the most important thing in there as we speak. The outpost is now going down. He still does have his water eco. This is good. On the part of KrispyK and Braunchy, there's absolutely no water play going on right now, so he's free to do that. And then as long as Lopsided Fluff can kind of keep his mass going, and, you know, I mean, that bank's going down now, so that's going to be a bit rough to deal with. No coin income. Go ahead,
Yeah.
looking over. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
This is a tough spot, you know. When you're in a 2v2, right? Like, sometimes you can kind of crawl your way back. Certain civs can, you know. Dutch probably could if they had the infrastructure, but without their banks and with their villagers costing coin, they're in quite the tough kind of awkward spot. You know, do you go further into water, build more boats, and hope your ally carries? Do you just everybody all hands on deck get some wood and put out another TC? I mean, and more importantly, is there any way for you to get military out? Because no matter how good of a player Lopsided Fluff is with Brits, it's a 2v1, and you know, Braunchy and KrispyK, they're sticking together. They're not making mistakes. They're playing very solid.
Yeah, absolutely. Dutch has always been in a really weird spot just because they are such a strong civ, but their start is always so difficult, a hard rush, and they can just kind of tip over. The patch seems to kind of have smoothed a little bit of that out, but I mean, that attack landed in such a concerted way and such a strong combination of State Militia and Musketeer that, I don't know exactly how you resist that without totally anticipating it and having it ready to go. I'm not exactly sure if maybe Hussar start wasn't it. You know, the resource sink of that, maybe going Skirm would be good, knowing that you're going to see State Militia and or regular. You know, so who knows? But they could have easily just gotten Hussar start as well. So, you know, caster vision is 2020.
I think that's exactly it. You know, and sometimes it's Age of Empires too, man. Like you open up with something, you don't catch that it's double racks, for example, right? Or you don't think that they're going to rush you with State Militia. If he'd gone Skirms, for an example, you know, Skirm and Musket should have beat State Militia are actually pretty cost effective into Skirms, but it would have been one hell of a close game.
Right.
And now they're sitting back just probably thinking like, damn, and this game looks convincing, but you know, one small choice at the beginning is what snowballed this.
Absolutely.
Ooh, I like this though, Caravels.
Yeah, 2 Caravel pop coming out now. Let's see if they can kind of cull this mass just a little bit, but Britain in H2 is so strong, even with Lopsided Fluff, he does not have an ally really to kind of help him out here. Only 1 Caravel currently firing. A couple Musketeer going down. He needs to try to cull this mass, and Dutch need to get going again. They need to get a military production going on here, and I'm wondering, did Braunchy send in? He has sent in the upgrade card, so that's 170. Yeah, so they're both.
But now USA is age 3, and you know, this is a civ that scales the later the game goes, so
Absolutely.
that's got to be like a disheartening feeling. And Nicias and Fluffius, the scores don't really look that bad, but they have to be feeling the pressure and knowing that they're on a very short timer now.
Especially hence the fact that they put so much pressure on the Dutch, and that's another civ that just scales so well. Like once they get right into their mid game, and they get into a good tempo, I mean, that coin economy just takes off. And so it was good of them to really focus that down, and still no banks on the part of Nicias, just a ton of fishing boats. And I'm really wondering, I mean, he does have 30 vills. I mean, he is able to keep the economy afloat. 2,100 food that he's floating, though, is really rough. I would say go ahead and try to convert that over. You know, see if you can get some more skirms in the field, put a barracks down, sell that food out with this market here, and see if you can, you know, also get some banks, you know, 2-3 banks by switching up the res on terms of your macro. But it's tough. It's tough. I mean, he's burning through that fish economy right now as they're now going up here to the kind of more center part of the map.
Yeah, you know, you're in a position now where you've got all these res, but what do you do with it? I assume he's trying to put a town center down.
I'm wondering where he would put it. Right next to the space here. He does have a bank going down, and you know, I think my question is more of why does he not have a military production building? I mean, this mass is starting to reach critical proportion, and although Lopsided Fluff has done a fantastic job with this double comp, He's trying to kite with the longbow men. They're just going to walk right into the base right now with the Gatling's guns coming in.
There's the GG. I mean, they have no cav. It looks like he has 5, so he set rolling artillery twice. These units are about to melt.
This is so tough to see, you know, and once again, another stable's going down, and I don't know if that was really the thing to do here. That's really tough. I wonder where the coordination was on that, what the conversations were going on between these two team members. It just, a lot of time was spent, you know, I think, kind of recovering that economy, but he, you know, he was floating a lot of res there, and I feel like he really could have at least put, you know, 20, 25 skirms on the field. Probably would have made it a little bit of a difference at least.
It could have, you know, but again, I mean, he was so behind that what do? Do you risk putting out a little bit and then getting absolutely outboomed, or do you try to outboom and get back in the game and hope your ally can hold? And looks like the GG is called. Tough, but man, first off, great coordination from Bronchi and KrispyK. Like, they did a wonderful job just to, like, hammer, you know, their rush was coordinated, their units were good. Even when the Huss tried to get on top of them, they were able to move the Musketeers back in front of most of those Huss, you know, ensuring that they had optimal trades. They scouted it, they hit. This, like I said, this was a practice strategy of theirs, I believe, and they showed off that when they work together, they are quite the formidable team.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at this, look at the difference. Just 9 Hussar out on the field as the most units produced is pretty crazy, considering, you know, you get the 9 Irish Brigadiers, and he also made he had a Minutemen pop. So really not a lot. If we're going to take a look at military unit count and exactly when that attack landed, we see on their part, KrispyK, just a huge amount of units, you know, for so early. I think, you know, pretty solid timing attack there around the 7-minute mark. Just absolutely pushing the Dutch over. Lopsided Fluff, you know, kind of kept pace here, but I mean, just, you know, just the coordinated attack, like you're saying. I mean, he never really could kind of get off the ground, and I think around this point where he was able to mass around the 12-minute mark, 11:50, where he was able to mass and kind of, and it looked like the United States was slowing down, maybe that would have been the time for Nicias to kind of try to bounce back with the military production, and right when, you know, United States goes H3, you try to take out that forward base. But so tough. I mean, if you take a look, I mean, I don't know, 2 outposts, combination of musks and skirms, maybe you could do it, but really, really hard. Really, really tough game to watch.
It is, and not only is it hard, but, you know, again, this is the risk when you go into 2v2. Sometimes, you know, your civs in a map like this where you're kind of far apart, you have to be ready for that rush, and you have to be ready to respond very quickly. And civs like Dutch, again, they're amazing when they have time, but it takes them time to kick into gear. And I think we saw, again, a good strategy, even though United States isn't really considered an H2 civ very often. You know, it just got a bunch of nerfs in the last round, and you know, Crispy was like, you know what, maybe they are nerfed, maybe they're not, but I think I've got a good idea, and he utilized it, and they were able to pull a pretty convincing win. So this game right here would be a game 4 out of 5. So this is actually going to be the game that triggers a best of 5.
Yeah, very excited for
Final
that.
match.
Very excited for that, and just kind of clicking through these graphs, you can see, I mean, just players playing their heart out. I mean, really good fundamentals on display. I think, you know, villager count, you know, still being really consistent on Nicias's part despite the rush. Resources gathered is all, you know, Lopsided Fluff, have to give him credit where credit's due. I mean, he did a really great job in terms of handling that eco, but just it was a really strong rush. And like you said, in terms of the geography map being so far apart, it was hard for him to come to the assistance of Nicias, and that was pretty much it. Got the game killed off right before it could ever really get started. So a really good executed strategy on the part of Bronchi and KrispyK. But both of us are super thankful to be able to pick over these guys' game. And these are, you know, 2 sets of fantastic players. So if you like...
It is, and
Sorry?
I was going to say too, I don't know if you saw the sidebar, but just so the viewers know, we're about to have a pretty consistent dump of content. I will not spoil anything, but the next series, so the winner of this series, is going to go on and play. We plan on uploading all of those about once a day. And then on the 6th of November, please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, which is very likely, but I believe it's still scheduled for the 6th of November. We're going to dump the finals all at once.
Yeah.
So, yep, 1 p.m. Greenwich Meridian time. Oh, live stream.
Very
Interesting.
exciting.
I
Very
am. I'm
excited.
excited. Either way, this has been great, and we've got Widgie with us. Holy, okay. I'm learning this as we go. So, um, with Big Widgie, and he's going to stream it on his Twitch as well. So we have quite the opportunity. So if you've been following this, or if you're from the future, tell me if there's still laughter left in the world, and in the comment section. And I hope you guys enjoy all these games. So, anything else you want to wrap up, Sir Shark Dad?
Yeah, so just to say that the channel's growing by leaps and bounds. We appreciate all of you subscribing, enjoying the content, commenting, and also joining the Discord and getting to interact with us. So please continue to do so. If you're just now tuning into all of this and you're liking the content that we're putting out, please subscribe, leave a like, helps with the traction. Comment, we will comment back. Talk to us. Our Discord link will be in the description if you do play this game and you are interested. And so we have a pretty good time all together. And if you're interested in the next tournament, please let us know. Until then, we will see you in the next one.